As we come here together here this evening, this night, on this Good Friday, in our yearly remembrance, our yearly worship of Christ who came to this world, Jesus, God in the flesh, as we celebrate Christmas 4 or 5 months ago, and now we gather here to see that He came for this particular moment where He would give His life on the cross, and the people who He died for are not the righteous, not the good, not the best, but dying for all sinners. Because that's what He came for. We come here tonight to think about, to meditate, to reflect on why we need Jesus so much. He came for you, He came for me. Because we are the sinful ones that need to be made clean. And the only way is through Jesus Christ. I'm going to share you an account. I was having a conversation with a particular person who was not a Christian, maybe loosely raised in the Christian church, but today is far from the church. And relaying the story, talking about 2 other people who are somewhat active in the church, or at least identified publicly as Christians, and how they're having a little feud and fight, and they don't get along with each other to the point where they don't even want to sit together at the same table. And she just kind of shakes her head and says, "And aren't Christians supposed to love each other?" As her closing comment of that statement. Kind of a sting on me, because she knows I was a Christian. She knows I'm a pastor. And to reflect that witness of what she's seen with other Christians and how other Christians treat each other doesn't seem right. And she's correct. Are Christians supposed to love each other? Absolutely. Forget about Christians. Are people supposed to love each other? Absolutely. And maybe you remember another conversation I had years ago with a young gentleman. He was getting married, and he was marrying a woman who was a Christian, very active in the church, and he was not. He was never raised in the church, and I would say he was a man without faith. And in my conversation with him, me and him over several months, and talking about Jesus and talking about the church, and kind of near the end of our conversation, I just asked him, "What do you think about Jesus? Well, what are your reflections? What are your thoughts about Jesus?" And kind of sum it up, I'm just going to paraphrase. And he was interested in Jesus. He likes what Jesus and how Jesus is portrayed and how he's talked about in the scriptures, and he's intrigued, and he wanted to learn more, figure out who this person was. And my next question is, what's holding you back to come to faith, to be part of the church? And his next response was, "Well, that's the problem. I just don't like Christians. Or at least, I just don't understand why Christians act the way they do." And he's talking about the hypocrisy, the lack of seeming charity and love for other people, and that just sometimes Christians have, they're better than others, or they're more righteous than others, and he just didn't get a good vibe when it came to going to church. And again, I think there's another fair criticism. And that's why I think tonight, as we come together, is to take time to really reflect and not what other people are doing. The issues in this world is not that we have criminals out there. It's not the bad politicians or bad leaders. It's not greedy and corrupt corporations. It's not the crime that's happening in the big cities. It's not the headlines that you read of terrible people who do terrible things to other people. The real sin, the real sinner, is here among us right now. It's each of us. And that's always been my comment to people who are outside the faith and they just don't get Christians, and it becomes an opportunity to share the witness and say exactly. Christian people, like everyone else in the world, where we know we need to love, we know we need to be charitable and servants and humble. And yet, like everyone else, we struggle so much. Now, that's not to excuse us. It's not to justify anything. It's a sad reality that not one of us is clean. And so when Jesus went to the cross, I think the most telling scene is not only the Prince of Peace, the Lord of life, hanging on that cross, but it was the people who were with him on that cross. The thieves on his left, on his right. Jesus was being crucified with common criminals. And at the beginning, as you go through the Gospels, they were both mocking Jesus and making fun of him. They were doomed. They had nothing to lose. And then, through that course of that crucifixion, the one criminal began to speak up for Jesus. He admitted his own fault. He knew he deserved what he was getting. But looking upon Jesus and knowing who he was, a righteous man, an innocent man, he was the only one in that place who should not have been on that cross. And he prays to Jesus on that cross, begging for mercy. Remember me, Lord, when you go to your kingdom. Remember me, please. Do not forget me. And there on the cross, as Jesus is dying, he reassures him that today he will be with him forever in paradise. Jesus came for the sinful person, in which you and I are the greatest. We need Jesus. And tonight as we come here, we hear the story once again of Jesus' suffering, his passion, his agonizing death, and his burial in the tomb. He did all that so that we may have the hope of that place of paradise. I know that you and I sometimes forget, as I talked last night. Sometimes it's hard for us to remember and to think about who we really need. And we get caught up with everyday life and things in the world. We get busy with family, busy with work, just busy with life itself. And we forget what is most important. And we need to remember who Jesus is and what he did. But even when we forget, even when we get lost, even when we wander away, is Jesus who remembers you. Because Jesus was dying on that cross, he was taking on the sins of the world. Your sins, my sins, the sins of the thief. And that's where we find redemption. We come here tonight to find redemption. Because we haven't loved our neighbor as ourselves. We haven't loved God with our whole heart, mind, and soul. But Jesus loved you. He died for us. And there we find our hope of salvation. Amen.